So, hello everyone. My God, how is it the end of 2025? I swear to God, it was January yesterday. But what is time or life or anything else anymore? So, yeah, I'm back with you for the final video of this year. Woo woo. So, I alluded in the last video that I've been pretty stuck with sharing this piece. Even if she is probably one of the best pieces I've created in the last few years. I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think one of the big things was when I was making this was probably one of the like roughest periods of my life. And just, one of the roughest periods in the state of the world. I am in the US. And yeah, it's kind of crazy here right now. And I know the rest of y'all in the rest of the world, part of you are just kind of like, ew, why is this happening? Why are you guys this dumb? And then some of you are also just kind of like shrugging and like, first time. So yeah, I find myself in a very desperate need for any form of techno optimism. We all know that the internet and social media as it stands now has had an undeniable role in the state of things. I feel incredibly sorry for you guys who are younger, who haven't known the internet to be any other way. I grew up in the late thousands and the late aughties. The internet at the time was a lot more decentralized and specialized. You had these very obvious spaces for kids and teens and adults. We were able to customize things a lot more. There was just an overall a lot more freedom. It was pretty cool to be here. Now, mind you, the internet has always, unfortunately, been a place for freaks. And I mean that in the derogatory sense, not for any of my folks out there who just may have a little bit unusual proclivities. We didn't have to worry about our childhoods being co opted for the sake of sharing it online. I was able to explore my, you know, niche and cringe interests. I didn't have to share space online with people I didn't like in real life. It was an escape from my life in real life, and my real life was an escape from some of the stuff from online. And for all of y'all, it is so much blurrier now. And I've watched this, you know, kind of like techno optimism. So, we're all looking back at the Vertigo Metro, Vertigo Arrow era, and it's just really turned into techno cynicism. And now we are just really full on in techno nihilism. So, yeah, this piece has been kind of a meditation on my younger self and her hopes and kind of my own headspace right now and how I could just really use some of that optimism. And like this delicate little watercolor wash, how thin and flimsy all this seems. And is Halcyon here waving hello or goodbye at me? And that's a great question, isn't it? So, yeah, some of the inspirations for this piece. The original piece I had that kind of sparked my kind of renewed interest in this, I happened to find when I was cleaning out my room at my parents' house, kind of prepping to move. I never shared her online, which I think is a really big shame. I just remember being so frustrated by my own lack of skill and just like the pose was stiff, the anatomy was wrong, and yeah, I didn't feel comfortable sharing her because I didn't feel so proud of my skill at the time. And honestly, kind of a shame I didn't, because she deserved to be put out into the world. And you are some of the few people to have ever seen her. I think I was about 13 or 14 when I drew her originally. The name for this kind of comes from this panel pretty early in Bleach, and it says goodbye halcyon days. It's like a note, kind of a throwaway panel, a note that Um, Orihime writes to her friends as she kind of decides to go off with eyes into Hueco Mundo. Bro, if you haven't, I'm not even gonna give you spoilers running this series is like 20 years old now, Jesus. Um, but yeah, it stuck with me then. Obviously, if I'm still remembering that panel, halcyon is the Greek word for describing a time in the past that was idyllically happy and beautiful. And thinking about that and things now just being, a full grown adult with a fully cooked brain, that shit hits a little bit different now. And the design for Halcyon, her like flight suit, I'm gonna call it, it's also very inspired. Yes, I pulled this into Procreate first to be able to do the undo button. Um, and I was able to do some little more digital process this time. I must say thank God for 3D models. And honestly, if I had had access to these tools as a teenager, I would be God tier now, and you wouldn't be able to tell me shit. Yeah, also, I must say that attempting to import models into like Clip Studio may be one of the most unintuitive processes I have ever been involved in with programs. And I am saying that from someone who's had to learn how to do Adobe. So I need Clip Studio to like get on that, please. Thank you. So my first attempt at this piece was actually an absolute disaster. My original method of transferring it to the watercolor paper did not work how I thought it was going to work. And then I was originally going to do kind of a mix of like drawing ink and watercolor. I kind of tried to do the two at the same time. Um, it was a disaster. So that piece of watercolor paper is now test paper. It happens, right? Trust the process. So the second time I remembered, miraculously, that I had one of these like little El Chupo light boxes off of Amazon that I got for like 20 bucks. And kind of concerned that it would not work like it was supposed to, but it did show through the watercolor paper and the paper that I used to print on. So, hey, uh, that was a pretty good little investment. So, I will say if you are going to spend money on watercolor supplies, I would 100% recommend the paper before like anything else. This set of watercolor paint that I'm using is like either partially like Winsor Newton, which is like actually a pretty good brand, or just like an off brand and generic paint that I got at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and just like El Cheapo brushes. So you can I would say, get decently far with those, but the paper is going to be the thing that is going to need to take the most abuse. So that needs to just be better quality. And I would just recommend pretty much for any medium that you're going to do, just spend the money on the paper, okay? And if you can't tell, I am using a glass nib pen for this. I've actually not used it before and decided, heck, why not hate myself even more and try an entirely new medium on this piece? So, in basic principle, it works a lot like microns or Ohuhu markers. It, makes the monoline the one weight. It just feels and sounds different when you put it on the paper. So I am interested to see how it reacts with different kinds of paper. The watercolor paper obviously absorbed it kind of quickly, so I feel like in some places it gets a little patchy, and it could also be just using that on top of the watercolor paint itself could have caused this. So that's something I'm gonna explore a little later. I also added a little subtle shading with the watercolor pens, like some watercolor pencils that I had. And I had gotten those like in college. So if you get some, they're gonna last you a pretty decent minute. So that's good, right? Yeah, overall pretty pleased with how this piece turned out. It maybe doesn't super like look like it to you. very simple composition overall. But I do feel like I pushed my skills with this piece. And it is definitely one of those that I kind of had to trust the process the entire time. So, this is my encouragement to you to say if your first attempt fails, please try again. Had I done this some other time in my life, I probably just would have given up Wh- at the first sign of struggle, which, as any of you are like Bud Page, the entire artistic process is a struggle till you kind of like make it to the end and you're like, oh man, we're so back, we're so back. Um, so yeah, this is my lovely reminder to you that if if it's not working out and you still feel pretty strongly about the piece, try it again. Um, your ideas deserve to be birthed. You know, they deserve to be seen. You deserve to have your efforts seen through to the end. You deserve to finish and execute on your ideas. So there is my or I lost the word there. I'm so sorry. That's my encouragement. There we go. There's the word encouragement to you. So I guess kind of I am gonna continue doing YouTube this upcoming year. I think it is going to be one of my big focuses, experimenting with some different types of content, not just like art process, and just overall taking it more seriously, not necessarily because I want to appeal to our algorithm overlords, but because like I deserve it. I deserve to take my own shit seriously, right? Yeah, yeah. So I don't entirely know what it's gonna be like yet, but I have some ideas and I'm gonna have fun with it. Because I'm gonna have as much fun as I can in our capitalist hellscape. Yay! Um, might as well enjoy the fun things while I still can. Tee. So I will see you guys in the new year. I wish every one of you a happy holidays, however you celebrate. And even if you don't celebrate, I hope you are able to get peace and rest in this season. And I will see you guys again soon. Catch you on the flip side. Oh, and I should probably, if you've made it this far to the end, and if you aren't, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I always seem to forget any form of call to action, like I've never done a day of marketing in my life. So, yeah, if you do, please like and subscribe. Help a sister out. Have a good one, y'all.